Did you know that 40 to 60% of people with substance use disorders relapse? I'm a substance use counselor and a licensed social worker who've worked with hundreds of clients in various stages of their recovery journey. I found that all my clients have one thing in common, and this video is all about that: the early signs of relapse in addiction recovery. Relapse doesn't happen overnight. It's a process that often starts long before the physical act of using a substance. One of my clients once described his relapse like this: "My relapse started the minute I started thinking about all the good times I had when I was using." Number 1, emotional changes. This is often where it all begins. You know those days when you just feel off? Maybe you're more irritable than usual, snapping at your friends or family over small things. Or maybe you're feeling super anxious, like there's this constant pit in your stomach and you just can't really put your finger on it. These emotional roller coasters are big red flags, especially when you're in recovery. You should also watch out for mood swings. One minute you're fine, the next minute you're really down or really angry. It feels like your feelings are all over the place and it's tough to get a handle on them. There's one other thing I've noticed in my clients that's always been followed by a relapse: isolation. When you start pulling back from people who care about you, it's a bad sign. You might find yourself avoiding friends, skipping out on plans, or just wanting to be alone more than usual. I always worried about those clients who suddenly stopped coming to sessions and avoided me like the plague, because it was a sign that they were isolating and that things are about to get bad. Number 2, dishonesty. There's nothing more important than honesty in recovery, but nobody likes to admit being a liar. If you notice that someone in recovery is starting to lie, it's almost a guarantee that it's because they're ashamed of something and trying to hide it. This will often start small. Maybe you tell little white lies to cover up how you're really feeling, like saying you're fine when you're really not. You tell your family and friends you're busy when really, you just don't want to face them because you're struggling. The problem with small lies is they can snowball. Next thing you know, you're making excuses for not showing up to your therapy sessions. You might tell your counselor or sponsor that everything is great even though on the inside, you're falling apart. But it's easier to pretend you're okay than to deal with the hard questions that come with being truthful. Secretive behavior is another part of this. You start hiding things like what you're doing with your time or who you're hanging out with. You might be hanging out with old friends that still use and you don't want anyone to know. Or you're going back to those places that trigger your cravings and pretending it's not a big deal. Dishonesty is not all about lying to the people around you either. It's also about lying to yourself. When things spiral out of control, you lie to yourself and convince yourself that you can handle just one drink or one hit. You rationalize your actions and downplay the risks, even though you know deep down where all this leads to. Dishonesty should be a huge wake-up call to anyone in active recovery. It's a sign that things might be slipping. Number 3, neglecting self-care. Recovery is all about taking care of yourself, putting yourself first. Self-care is a huge part of that. When addictions take over people's lives, they stop caring about everything and everyone, including themselves. At that point, all that matters is the next high. But when you change course and take back control of your life and make sobriety a priority, self-care becomes important again. I've worked with clients who sort of forget to do the bare minimum, like brushing your teeth, combing their hair, and putting on some clean clothes every morning because they're chasing the next high. This is why neglecting self-care is a huge warning sign of relapse. It's a slippery slope. Like lying, it starts small. You might be skipping one workout or missing one meeting, but it can quickly build up. If you catch yourself in this pattern, it's time to hit pause and reassess. Start small. Pick one thing to focus on, like getting enough sleep or eating better. Reach out to someone in your support system and let them know you're struggling. Sometimes just talking about it can make a huge difference. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's essential to the longevity of your recovery. So don't ignore the little things. They add up and they matter. Number 4, increased cravings or obsessive thoughts. In my years of experience as a counselor, I saw this particular thing happening to my clients in their early stages of recovery. In other words, when you first start getting sober. That's not to say that people in long-term recovery will never have cravings again. It's possible at any stage of recovery. When you're in recovery, cravings can pop up out of nowhere, and if they start getting more frequent or intense, that's something to watch out for. For example, let's say you're going about your day and suddenly you get this overwhelming desire to use again. It's like a wave that hits you out of nowhere. Maybe you're at a party and someone hands you a drink, or you see something that reminds you of your past use and boom, the craving hits hard. These strong urges can be extremely tempting, and if they're happening more often, it's a huge red flag. There's also fantasizing. This is when you start daydreaming about using. You might catch yourself thinking about how good it felt, remembering the high, or even replaying those moments in your mind like a movie. When it starts, it seems innocent enough, but these thoughts can quickly pull you back into a dangerous mindset where using seems appealing again. One last thing I want to mention is something called the planning relapse. This one's a little bit sneaky because it's all about the what ifs. You might start thinking about where you could go to get your hands on the substance, how you'd use it without getting caught, or making excuses for why it would be okay to do it just once. It's like you're setting the stage for a relapse without even realizing it. Number 5, changes in thinking patterns. This isn't as complicated as it seems. It's all about how your thoughts can start to mess with your head and lead you down a risky path. We all have bad days, but this is different. Imagine you're constantly beating yourself up, thinking stuff like, I'm never going to get any better, or I'll always be an addict. These negative thoughts can spiral out of control and make you feel hopeless. And it doesn't all simply end there. You can start to rationalize these thoughts too. This is when you start to make excuses for behavior that deep down you know isn't good for you. You might think, I've been sober for a while now, I deserve a little reward, or just one drink won't hurt. This is really tricky because rationalizing feels like you're being logical, but really, you're just finding reasons to slip back into old habits. This eventually comes down to blaming the people around you too. When things go wrong, it's easy to point fingers and blame someone else, then take responsibility for your actions. Shifting blame takes the focus off your responsibility and makes it harder to stay accountable. The journey to recovery is not easy, but as a substance use counselor, I know for a fact that recovery is possible, but it requires your lifelong, unwavering commitment and dedication. As the saying goes, difficult roads lead to beautiful destinations. If you found value in this video, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us grow and get our content out to more people who might need it. As always, don't forget to spread loving kindness to all beings around you and be the change you want to see in the world. Thank you for watching. See you next time.